Hey everybody, Gary with Basecamp Trading. Let's take a look at the ES futures today. This is our 240-minute chart, and you can see that going after Christmas and into the New Year's holiday, ES made a pretty decent push up. This is a 240-minute chart. Made a pretty decent push up, actually triggered a bull flag. And then coming into the US session, just before the US session, we had this really bearish bar, left a little topping tail, and then the entire body of this bar was all selling. It also triggered a failed bull flag. Once we broke below the low of this setup bar, this became a failed bull flag. So we had a really bearish setup coming into the US session, and then it followed through with yet another really bearish bar, a little topping tail. The entire body of the bar was all selling, broke under the 50 EMA. You can see we had support right here on this power line. That support was right there at 37.14 and a half. Broke underneath that, broke under the 50 EMA, ran all the way down, not quite to the 200, close, but not quite to the 200, and then left a bottoming tail, got way undervalued. You can see we hit deep, significantly undervalued. And then, as is normally the case, when we get significantly over or undervalued, we pull back, we consolidate, or we reverse. This particular case, we pulled back and consolidated. Most time, that's what we'll do is we'll pull back and consolidate. But we had a really bearish, nice move down in the ES. Here is our 30-minute chart. And you can see that this was during the London session. And this is where we had that failed bull flag on the 240s. Came into the US session and broke underneath the 50 EMA. 513 had crossed to the downside. Found a little support here at the 200. No real surprise there. Broke underneath it, finished back above it. Came back here, broke underneath it with a really bearish bar. Opened at the top, closed right near the bottom, and just worked our way down. Got significantly undervalued, and you can see on our MQVSI Pro that we had gotten very extended to the downside, and these dots are indicating that the selling volume is starting to dry up. And you can see we got significantly undervalued. We're painting dots extended on our VSI Pro, and they got a pretty decent pullback throughout the rest of the day. This is how we were trading it on the Renko charts. See right here, we broke underneath the cloud, set up our wick off the 18, and then you had several opportunities. You had a wick off the 18 here, you had one here, and then if you were just using Trender Pro 2.0, this kept you in this trade all the way down into here. We'd gotten significantly undervalued. We were forming bullish divergence. You can see we were making lower lows in price, higher lows in momentum. So this was a good place to take some profits. But, a nice strong move down. Your entry would have been somewhere in the neighborhood of 37.42 and a half, maybe 42 and a quarter, depending on how you got filled. Stayed with Trender Pro. Your trail stop feature would have had you out here at 36.89. So a really nice strong push down. Could have grabbed potentially a couple $1,000s per contract. Just depends on how you're trading it. Or you had some opportunities. You could have grabbed a couple hundred here, 400 here, 500 here, 300 here. So it just depends on how you're trading. If you're getting in and out, or if you were just sticking with the trade. But some nice potential on that move down. We went into consolidation for a while because, again, we were significantly undervalued on our value charts, making some divergence, went into consolidation, broke out of consolidation. Our target was 36.52. That was our actual downside target for the day, 36.52. The low ended up being 36.52 and a half, but still on the compression breakout, you had an opportunity to grab another $600-700 per contract. Again, depending on how you're trading it, your entry on the compression breakout would have been underneath 36.80 and a half. If you took the slow line zero touch out of the cloud, because this is a valid setup for us, we had pushed our way down, pulled into the cloud, little move down, set up the fast line, zero touch. At this point, the slow line on MQ momentum was back underneath the zero line. Made a little pullback here, had a momentum reset, which was occurring right here, and room to accelerate your trade to the downside. So depending on how you traded it, you could have had a potential to grab an entry right there at 36.87.5 down to our 36.52 target. Again, we didn't quite hit it, so you would have been out, probably somewhere up above that, but still potential to grab, even another $1,000 depending on how you were trading that. If you missed the breakout, we had the wick off the 18. That trade would have been good for another $600. So lots of really nice potential short trades in the ES today. Just depends on how you're trading it, what your actual profits would have been. But nice strong setup. We were being confirmed by the 240-minute chart. Confluence with a 30-minute chart with Renko setups. We know that when we're in confluence with a 240-minute chart and the 30-minute chart, those are the times that we have the potential to grab these big moves. So, again, that was a strong move depending on how you were trading that. I mean, if you were just hanging on for target, I mean, you could have grabbed near $3,000 per contract. Again, it's just in all how you were trading it, but lots of really nice short opportunities to grab some really nice profits in the ES this morning.